Did it at any point, the trolling and you guys calling you fatty, kanono, did it mess you up?
It did. And for me, it goes back to way back even when I was growing up. Because by the time I was in class 8, I was already 100 kgs. Class 8,
At class 8, I was 20 something.
What?
Which was Will's lowest moment? Was it after you and your ex-wife? Was that like the lowest moment ever in life?
No, actually, the lowest moment was the day I found out that my baby girl won't make it when my daughter died. That was my lowest moment. I don't think there's anything pain that can. Yeah, I don't think there's any pain that can
equate.
Yeah, to that. It was actually December 30th, 31st. New Year, what one New Year? People are getting ready. But then for me, we got there, everything was okay. Went to the doctor, the pains and everything came. And I told there's no heartbeat. I'm like, what do you mean? I just had the heartbeat. I contemplated suicide and all of that because, again, every time that I thought about my daughter, is that so if she's on the other side, the only way I can see her is
join her.
Exactly.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, of course, to episode 2 of Lessons at 30. My name is the Eagle himself, the Duke of Kakamega. Dr. Ofweneke is my name. Karibuni sana. Of course, thank you so much, of course, for the feedback that we're getting. The ones who watch the Lessons at 30 with Israel Mbonye, Lessons at 30, of course, with Kidum Kibido, and amazing comments. And to our new subscribers on Dr. Ofweneke TV, karibuni sana. Hatuna chai ni ya guest na host peke yake. Nyinyi wengine mtakula bundles. Thank you so much. But of course, much love, of course, to the whole team. 91 Degrees Limited, and of course, Pro Studios, of course, the ones behind the production of this amazing concept. Asanteni sana. I know you've been waiting for this. You are excited. You have your pens and you have your papers ready. You must always have your pen and paper because this is class. This is just not a show. Wow. This is a classroom. We're getting in for the lessons at 30. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to take too much of your Wi-Fi. I know some of you mmekostishare pale Mirema Kasarani Wasewa Great Hall na mmetumia ruta moja nyumba the whole estate. Na sitaki waste too much of your Wi-Fi. So we want to get straight into it. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I told you, lessons at 30, jokes aside, humor aside, jumping up and down aside, this is where we get to learn. This is where we get to collect lessons for us to have a better life, for us to make better decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm hosting my brother, an amazing man, an events host, a TV host, a radio host, and of course, a boss in every way, and one of the best digital content creators right now. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, a guy behind the whole idea of a Bebe experience. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only.
Yeah.
Willis.
Yeah.
Raburu.
Yeah.
AKA
Bazu.
Ndio hiyo
sasa. Karibu. Asante sana, hata karibu nikwambie karibu. Karibu bwana. Karibu kwa show. Karibu sana. Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure for you.
Thank you. And it's I'm happy. I'm happy to be here.
Nashukuru sana.
Yeah.
How many
before that? Oh God. And najua ulisema shouting aside, jokes aside, but I just had to trademark lazima.
Who are we in your presence? We are humbling in your presence. Right. Bro, let's get straight into it.
Yes.
Because a whole generation or probably 2 or 3 generations are watching the show. Yeah. And everybody's just waiting to borrow and buy from the wisdom behind Willis Raburu and how he became who he is today. And I would just want to get straight deep into it. Your weight loss journey.
Yes.
How much is Willis Raburu weighing right now?
Oh, right now, thank God. I'm so happy to say this. Right now, I'm 112.
112.
But before I went through my surgery, I was 164.
164?
Yes. And at that point, I remember my doctor telling me when I was going for the surgery, because even after the surgery, I had complications, not because of the surgery, but because of what they call underlying issues. Mm. So I had high blood pressure. And even, in fact, like when they nilipima oxygen ilikuwa low. and they had to like do that whole thing, what they call a defibrillator, I think that's what it's called, and they did that. I was on the mask, it was just things you see in the movies, like an oxygen mask, and because I wasn't getting enough oxygen, my heart I guess was giving way. They did a test, and so here's a funny story, not funny but sad story actually, is because the doctor told me the cardiologist who they did like the whole ECG thing and they checked out and stuff and they did other further tests on my heart, and they said that it looks like your vessels are kind of thinning, right? So that's why you kind of, I think I might not, and by the way, I'm not a doctor, I try to relay what I was told. Yeah. Yes. That now that's also high blood pressure. So it looks like my heart is pumping, but my vessels are thin around the heart. And so that they say that's potentially dangerous. And they went even further to say, because I think I did the surgery sometime in May, and they're like, ungengoja December, we are not sure if you would have made it because of the cholesterol, the fat, your pressure levels. And what the other thing they told me is that it looks like this problem has been there for years, about 1.5, 2 years. And when you look back because I did the surgery in 2022, it was 2020. What was happening in 2020? 2020, I went through my divorce, I went through child loss. So, and for me, I stress eat. Like when I'm in stress, I eat. Okay? I eat and I don't want anything else. That's how I deal with my stress. And because I guess just for me, I look for the scientists, I think they call the dopamine, that happy hormone feeling. For me, it comes in food. Because food is the only thing that won't judge me. It won't talk back. Yeah, food is not going to talk back. It won't tell me, I will say, it won't say, like, go ahead. And, it's tasty. So for me, when that happened, when I was going through that surgery and just hearing those things, it then just made me, it took me back to realize that, we don't know the things that we're putting our body through when we are going through stress. Stress, I mean, you feel like, I ask you, are you stressed? You cry, you are sad, it's a glim outlook on life. That's the outside. But inside, the things you're doing to your body, in terms of your heart, your high blood pressure, and they call high blood pressure the silent killer because,
it's next
but
day.
yeah, by the time you're actually getting the signs or the symptoms, like it's been there for a while. So you get the headaches, you go up a flight of stairs, you're a bit tired, like 2-3 steps, you can't hold your own. You're like, you're just tired from doing simple things. Like, unaweza cheza na msee, akufuata tu kidogo. And then you're like, I'm so tired.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
That was more on your physical.
That was
on your physical.
Yes.
In terms of your self-esteem, you didn't mess up, because I know, and I think one thing about us Kenyans is that Kenyans at times, when we don't have anything else to pick on you, we go for your weight.
Yeah.
Especially
and
if
fat.
Fat is the word.
They say unfat.
Yeah, stop talking.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did it mess you at any point at that time? Because, I mean, you are on TV almost every single day. You're doing lunchtime news. You are doing 10 over 10. You're also doing breakfast.
On radio.
Yes, you're on radio at the same time. Did it at any point, the trolling and you guys calling you fatty, kanono, did it mess you up?
It did. And, for me, it goes back to way back even when I was growing up. Because by the time I was in class 8, I was already 100 kgs. Class 8.
At class 8, I was 20 something.
What?
20 something. I was
kidogo. But anyway,
please.
No. It's funny, but it's also sad.
Oh my goodness!
But
my
see,
parents.
the thing is, so I can't say I'm used to it, but even back then, because people would talk to me in they would make fun of me in Luo and think that I'm not a Luo, but then I could hear what they're saying.
What are they saying?
Yeah, they're saying this guy is fat. Like when you have the shorts, and because of your fat in a panda, they're like, so they're like, hey, look at this guy, he can't hold his own. Look at the way he's walking. I know we the one people know is Rao, Raila Amolo Odinga, but Rao is actually a hippo. Yeah, in Luo. So they would call me Rao Rabet, like a big hippo. And I was like, I'm in class 8. I'm like 14. So even going into high school, where people are being given school uniforms and you don't get because they don't have it in your size. And students, I mean, kids are crazy. Kids can be nasty.
Well, they say the brutal truth.
Yes, and they say it unfiltered and adulterated.
And they move away.
And they move on like,
they're just gonna whatever. I've
Yeah,
said it.
wewe deal na hizo feelings zako baadaye.
It's like a street kid or something. Jamindo wakuchungwana, I'm good.
No, yeah, that's it, right?
And it's so unfortunate.
Machine.
Yes.
So I've been going through that. And then now to come now to a place where now even, you post a picture and first of all already, and I always tell people this, whenever you're talking about somebody and you're trying to fat shame them, guess what? I live with this body every day.
So I know.
Yeah, so I know. I wake up, I know that when I wake up and I go and look at myself in the mirror and I wear what used to fit me before and it doesn't fit me now, I know. I know so much. So do you know for years I would never, how like, I always make fun of ladies because ladies are very intentional when they are oiling themselves. They take time. They're up in the middle, like, they slide, put your leg up, when I take time. But I would not look at myself in my birthday suit. I would never. I think never. I don't think there's a time. Fully. Man, I think it happened, to be honest, it happened after the surgeries when I was now actually looking at myself.
I'm like, wow.
And not like looking back and like, because already even now when you look at yourself, and everybody will know this, sometimes you're like, oh, look, you feel you're under, hey, this is a bit flappy.
Okay.
You feel, tumbo imetoka kidogo. Now imagine, I would not look at myself because already I've changed my wardrobe 3 or 4 times. It's not like I'm decreasing. And even if I do lose weight, I'll do it 3 months, I lose 20 kgs. If I take a break from the gym, even for 2 weeks, I'm up 8-9 kgs. So that's why I decided to go for the surgery. And then I had to make sure, and when you're doing any, especially weight loss, my first thing is that if you're doing weight loss and you're going even to the gym, you have to do it for you. Don't do it because I want to show them.
I want to win some chiles.
So what happens if you relocate or they move? You want to show, unataka kushow msee, uko job na yeye, then aende kwa station ingine, aende kwa job ingine. So your motivation imeenda. Because you're trying to do it for them. But if you're doing it for you, you live with you every single day.
Did it kind of probably mess you up in terms of even just approaching women? Ladies?
Oh, no, man. That was sure, man. Yo, let me tell you what, though. I got them silver tongue, though. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
So that one never...
But it didn't mess. And even looking back now, sometimes I look at some of my pictures. I was even asking my wife, like, hey, yani ulinipenda? Because I was huge. And even my friends, friends, your circle, they don't really tell you. They just learn to take you as you are. And so for me, I was always confident. And to be honest, though, if I'm really being honest, because, we're saying the truth.
Lessons of that.
TV helped. You're a celebrity, so
it's okay.
No matter what, it comes with it. It comes with it, so it helps people kind of look like this at other things. Unafunga weight, yeah. So it helped a bit, but then it still didn't. I was really conscious about it though. Every time, like literally, I remember changing my wardrobe just so that I don't look. Like if you wear tight stuff. You'd never find me in that. And then that's why I would and I was very fit though, because I was healthy. I would go to the gym. So guys would wonder, hey, unaruka. And remember even like you're saying TV47 and even Citizen and all those. When I was at 10/10, one of the reasons why I remember my MD, Washiro Waruru, would tell me is that, I know you want to lose weight. I know your weight is a problem. But flip the conversation. Look at it this way. You're giving hope to people who TV personalities, until probably you arrive to the scene, were a certain way.
Supposed to be.
Yes. You're first
trimmed
you're
up.
Trimmed, you're chiseled. But for you, you're this happy guy who's, slightly big, and you're jumping around, and you're wabebering, and you're bazoo, and all these things. So somehow people like you identify with you, and even people who just the bare fact that you're there. It means that somebody will say, like, if he can make it and he's like that, ata mimi my indifference or my disability or my problems, I can also be there.
I'll be fine.
So it was double. I guess we call it double-edged sword.
Yeah. Either way, the way you look at it.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's go a little bit back into you growing up. I remember there's a day I was just sharing with you and telling you when your father Mr. Raburu.
Yes.
When he was the provincial commissioner for Western.
Yes.
That's the time when I was in primary school, Kakamega and Abongo Primary. And I remember he used to be such an authority. And for the Gen Zs, PC was equally as powerful as a governor.
Actually,
right now.
more powerful than
Actually, because it was just not.
It was so a governor now is in charge of, say, Nairobi, or let's say Kisumu. But
Yes.
now, then if you're PC Nyanza, it's Kisumu, Kisii, Nyamira,
All of that.
Migori. Yeah.
Yes, and I was just, there's a day I saw a photo, a family photo of you guys,
Right.
the whole Raburu lineage,
Yeah.
and I was so proud. I was like, wow, I like this, and I just kept on asking myself, did you ever grow up feeling like probably you are privileged, and I mean your father being very powerful at that time, and maybe being under Moi's regime, and being a whole PC was a whole big deal. Did it ever make you feel like you're privileged as away from the other boys?
I think it didn't, and the reason it didn't is because of mostly because of my mom. So now, like at that time, my mom would say, I remember because my dad went up through the ranks, so he was so that back then you had your 3, 2, 1,
Yes,
and then DC, and then PC, district commissioner, provincial commissioner. So I remember when he was, and it was big, it was news when he moved from district commissioner to provincial commissioner.
yes,
It was announced on TV, right? 9 o'clock news, and like Rais turned to teacher Moi, 7 o'clock news, made some changes, and these are the changes. And so he now leaves from Kakamega, and now he comes to become PC. And when I was going to bed, I said, hey, wait, I'm going to bed the son of a DC, and tomorrow I wake up the son of a PC. My mom rushed into the room and held me and said, listen, PC ni baba yako, si wewe. Okay? You have to work hard for you.
For your
So
own story.
nisisikie hata usiseme. And we used to be, but even if you ask guys in campus, they know me more as Wayne, because in campus I was using Willis Wayne. Wayne is my middle name.
You're called Wayne?
Yes, Willis Wayne. Okay, my name is Willis Wayne Edwin Opio Otonde Raburu.
Hey. All this name. No wonder kuna watu wanaitwa nameless. Moving on.
So I guess that grounding from my mom, when I tell the stories now, like when I say how we had bodyguards, we had 3, 4 cars, in terms of chase cars, my dad would move around with chase cars, he would move around with the flag. Our stuff was paid for a lot, housing, everything. We had
You guys had
like
the life.
6, 4 or 5 people waiting on us and stuff like that. But at that point, I didn't see it like that. Me, I would complain about Gideri on all Raburu households, by the way, standard till date. If you go to any Raburu household, Sunday, ni Gideri.
If you go to any Sunday
we
household,
call it
it's
Nyoyo.
Morocco.
Any Raburu, I'm telling you, from my home to all my uncles, Gideri. And so my thing would be like, why are we eating Gideri then again on Monday? So those are my problems. So when I tell people stories about how my dad had a bodyguard and I saw my cousin attempted to smoke weed one time, and my dad called the police, and he was arrested from Friday, and he came back home on Tuesday. Or like when I was saying in another interview how we had a red phone where the president would call directly, and I actually spoke to Moi on phone.
You spoke to Moi on phone?
Yeah.
Was it by mistake?
It was by mistake, because it was called a hotline.
Yes.
It's a red phone that is at his office, and we used to be at the office and at the house, at the residence. So there was the residence at what would be like the sitting room / lounge area, and then there's one in the bedroom, right? So it rings. So each time he wasn't there. So it rang, and I'm like, he's singing, and it then I go and pick up the phone. And then I say, hello? Because it's a young kid.
Yeah.
Then Moi goes, is the PC in? And I say, no, he's not there. And then he says, akirudi mwambie Moi alipiga.
You told him Moi alipiga.
Mwambie Moi alipiga. Then I hang up. Then in the evening, I'm trying to tell my dad,
Moi called.
He called. He's like, don't even play about that, okay? He's like, he was like, you don't joke about these things. Are you sure it was him? I'm like, yeah, I know the guy.
I see him on TV. I mean,
Yeah,
he's like
he's
10 minutes. It's like 10 minutes
of the news,
yeah.
right? I was like, no, are you sure? Because I'm going to call him back. And if you don't play with this dude, I can't call him and say you called and you didn't call. Are you sure? And I didn't call him, by the way. My dad didn't call him at all. So we waited until Moi called later on, like at 11 p.m. in the night. I was sleeping. Had the phone ring. And my dad picked up and said, oh, no. Then I just said no, ilikuwa mtoto wangu mdogo. Then he came to the room and actually, you actually don't you ever
talk to the president.
Pick up this phone ever, okay? So when I look back then, and so if you look at the PC's residence in Kisumu, for example, it was intertwined, like we shared a gate with the State House, right? So when the president would come, like we would go and see him arrive, land with the chopper, go down and have his tubaraza, meet with my dad. And back then, if you're the PC, so say you live in, because now that time it was Nyanza. So when the president is leaving your province, all of you follow him until the border of the next province. And then the other PC, anamchukua, wanaingia kwa. So my dad would drive all the way to Kericho, alafu wa Rift Valley sasa anamchukua, wanaendelea. And sometimes I would go along on those rides. Yeah. So for me, I think the good thing is also because my dad, everybody knows, most people know, 100% Christian. He's a pastor, actually. And he used to go around giving God is good stickers to everybody.
Nice.
Go to schools, preach, drag me along, make me preach as well. I started preaching when I was in class 6.
We'll get there. Yeah. We'll get there.
So for me, I didn't feel privileged. But when I tell those stories now, and I tell guys,
privileged.
And then the schools I went to as well, guys like, I'm like, but you see, it wasn't in my mind that way. Yeah, because
did they ever used to come for visiting day?
Oh man, when my dad came for visiting day, when I was in Chamberlain Academy. No, actually, it's a funny story. I don't think I've ever said this story anywhere. So when I was in class 6, I had this teacher called Mrs. Opio, and I was a noisemaker. But this time I wasn't making.
We are shocked.
I know we are shocked.
Willis,
right?
we are really shocked. You are a noisemaker. Wow, that is not you. We don't know you like that.
But sasa this time, sikuwa napiga kelele. Imagine, I was just chilling, and then deski wangu, Sami Onyancha, akapiga kelele. But then Mrs. Opio's mindset was, mtu kelele nani kwa hii class?
Willis. Wait.
Akasema, and she's like, Willis, what are you doing? Then she said, don't weigh me on a slotted spoon. Usinipime. So akanambia, get out. As I was leaving, I muffled. Under my voice, I said, wacha nikwambie, there was a lady there called Corazon Aquino. Yes. Akasema, teacher. Willis amesema the F word. Sasa, my aunt, who's my dad's sister, used to teach at the school.
Whoa.
Sasa nikapweka wapo nje, I'm kneeling. Ile inua mkono, ita mvua. So unajua ile kunili ile,
yes.
Ita mvua.
Oh, so come on, you guys went through that. Oh my goodness.
Ita mvua. Sasa, for some reason, universe, God, source, everybody, made it that day is the day my dad decided to show up. I remember this time he's the PC of Nyanza. All the teachers sasa wametoka, watu wamepenga laini. But mimi, niko wapi?
Unaita mvua.
Nitaita mvua. But the headmaster didn't know that naita mvua. So as I'm coming up, as my dad is coming, like, oh, my son is here, nini. Then it hit the teacher like, wow.
Mtoto wa PC anaita mvua.
Anaita mvua. Na ndo hiyo akapa nje. Sasa wanakuja. Wanaambia, swama. I said, what's going on? They said, my dad is there. I said, okay, good. Wacha nibaki hapa. Sitoki. Wakanambia, we'll tell him what you said. Now, my dad was a disciplinarian. Like for me, nitambia daddy was a threat on my life. If you tell me that statement, bwana, even to date, if my mom says, I can tell your father, I'm like, okay, let's talk about it.
I think there's room for negotiation.
There's room for negotiation. So yeah, he came and nilijifanya sijafanya kitu, nikasamehewa ndio, but after ende bado niliita mvua. But yeah, so it was a big deal so I knew that my dad was a big deal from the reaction of people. Like there's a time when my dad was, and he used to help a lot of people. And there's a time when he decided to help somebody who came to visit him and was paying their fees. And so he decided to pay that person's fees for like a year. And he wrote them on the official letterhead and said, I'm going to, this is like my son, and I'm going to pay his fees. And I'm coming to visit you on Wednesday to make
accountability.
The payment. So when we went to school on Wednesday, tunafika tunapata like the zile tumawe leading up, like zile tumawe whitewash, zimechapa whitewash, watu wanaimba pale hivyo, wanaimba.
All this for your dad. Like you guys better be rehearsing with me since I'm in the same school with you.
You're singing for this dude?
Really? Dude, I'm sitting in boxes and the vest. Hey, guys, hold up. He ain't that much of a big deal, really.
But he was also very strict.
I was about to ask before we move into now career choice.
Yeah,
I was about to just ask just in just a short statement. Until today, what is that one value that you carry around? I've been very keen on asking men when they come on the show. What is that one value that you have taken from dad that you carry it around as a man?
Two things. Prayer and work ethic. My dad, every day, every morning without fail, whether we were living with him or not, because he was always going around, but the time he was at least in Kisumu, 3 a.m., he wakes up and you'll hear him praying.
Wow.
Right? And if it comes time to pray for family, he would then come into our rooms, because I was the sibling who was left here.
You're the last one?
I'm the last one, yes.
Whoa, family of?
Member. 3. But of course, it's a huge family now. I mean, we have people we've adopted. Huge, very huge family. Yeah. I normally say it's just 3 local. 3 local.
The rest are
branches. Yeah, we have. Yeah. So I learned from him that prayer. And then sometimes we'd come and go into my room and pray. Sometimes when I and in the name of Jesus Christ, we pray for Willis. I bind. Whoa.
The demons are sleeping as well.
Yeah. But then he taught me, and even the way he would pray. Sometimes I'll wake up and listen to the way he prays. He prays taught me how to pray. Basically, prays for everybody in the family, prays for the nation, prays for his enemies. Those ones are not really, his are David's. May the path be slippery. Like deep prayer.
Let your sword.
Yes. So for me, I learned a lot of prayer. And any problem that he had, he'd always tell me God will provide. He taught me how to pray.
Nice.
And he'd be keen, and he always he's the one who taught me about how praying the word. So find what the word says about your situation, then pray.
Then attach it to
Remind
it.
God.
It's something I'm learning right now, that when you pray, they say you also put God into accountability.
Yes.
That God, you said that you're not a son of man to lie. So God, why should I live a life like this?
Yes.
Because you already made the promises.
Yes.
So you learn how to pray while attaching what God has said in His word, the promises of God into it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It says, put me in remembrance of my word. So he taught me that. Then number 2, work ethic. So he'll finish praying 3, 4. He prays for like an hour, 2 hours. And then at around, then he goes to run. He would go for a jog, run, then come back, then leave the house by 6:30 to work. Yet everybody's supposed to be work at 8. So he taught me just working, and then he would be last to leave the office. And sometimes I would go, and when I go to see him at his office, and there's all this line of people, and this is lunchtime, I'm trying to say, let me go and see him over lunch. And I find all this line of people waiting to see him. And I'm like, I'll just watch him on nyumbani.
Beautiful.
Because he'll stay there through the lunch
Working
hour,
for the people.
Working for the people.
So let's come back to one would expect Willis Raburu, of course, being the son of this very powerful gentleman in the country, you'd probably go and pursue serious courses from what our society has made it look like.
Yeah.
Probably lawyer, engineer, architect, and all those kind of careers. But you end up in media.
Yeah.
How does Willis Wayne Raburu end up in media?
I wanted to do media from when I was 7 years. And it's also partly because of my dad, because my dad I saw people always come and say, Afande, salute before they talk to him, stand there until they're told fall out. So you can stand there until he tells you fall out, like let me go release.
Did you used to do that yourself?
And he used to do that to us as well. Because my dad, every time you get your report card,
you fall in.
You fall in. You go unasema pale hivyo. Sasa, and he was very keen on maths, chemistry, and what's the other one? The sciences, physics, right? Especially in high school. So you would stand there and he would tell you, what have you got in math? You say your grade. And this is like, nakuita time ya news. So my thing was, this guy, everywhere he walks in the room, everywhere he drives, people are saluting, people are changing
It's
things.
authority.
There's authority. But ikifika time ya news, anaambia watu, shh. Usiongee, hebu tuwache umse. So like,
unaweza kumevutwa.
So I guess the guy who's doing the news is the powerful guy, because if this powerful guy is telling people to listen, tusikize mtu Hamisi Tembo. Habari moto ni kwamba Rais Daniel Toroitich arap Moi leo katika ikulu ya Nairobi. So he's listening to this guy. So then the powerful guy is not him.
It's the
He's the guy, he's quieting guys down. So I wanted to be that powerful guy. To win my dad's...
I have never looked at it like
that. To win my dad's, like
admiration.
Because I thought like, I wasn't so good in math. Kidogo nilikuwa napata madaudi msalaba.
Tuko pamoja. Pleasure to meet you. It's a mathematics D therapy class.
So shout out to Joho. So
whoa. Bro, you're mining issues. You're mining issues, G.
Usiogope, Ofweneke usiogope, manake I'm going to be a doctor. Usiogope.
Maski networth.
Nitakuwa networth. 2.6 billion pesa kidogo. Usijali, nitakuwa daktari. Next time I'll come here by God's grace. Inshallah.
D nilikuwa napata ni D for daktari.
Ushaelewa? So I think at that point it would make us quiet down, and that gave me, I just wanted to be in the media. And my mom never shut down my dream. And he wasn't for me going to media. He wanted me to be IT, because at the time, that was like during that time, it was
when Microsoft was now coming in.
and all that stuff, and IT opportunities, and it was very marketable. So, but I defiantly chose to do IT. And that's why even in campus, I was called Willis Wayne, because I didn't want to get any...
That Raburu.
Yes, I didn't want people to treat me different because they know that this guy is my dad. Because I was like, I wanted to make it for myself, and so one of the things my dad did actually is he walked us around some of his property, things he owns. For me, he walked me around, and then after a while he sat me down and said, sasa hii property, unajua, I don't think God is very unkind. Okay? There's no way your mother and I can die at the same time. So even if I die, it's for your mother. If your mother dies, it remains for me. So you work for your own.
Come on.
Hii hapa haitakuwa yako. Work for your own. So that's the mentality that
you've grown up with. That's what you're
very... Yeah. And so even that, and that's why I do a lot of stuff.
I see that.
But now you see, I borrow from the work ethic he has. So even when I went into media, I remember I tried to call myself Willis Wayne, but my boss at the time, Peter Ponda, akaniuliza, kwani wewe ni mzungu? Unaitwa nani? Nikasema Willis Raburu.
Wewe ni mtoto wa
Raburu moja.
Yeah. Now your boss now.
No, akasema no, good, and that's why you have to treat people right now, because our kids are growing up, and so they remember all the things that everybody who talks about my dad remembers. He was strict and he loved the Lord.
All I know is that teachers in Kakamega used to, when they hear he's coming, they will tremble.
He was big on education.
Yes, I can remember that in my memory.
Huge on education. He said that one of the best gifts I can give you guys is education. You can tell him to buy you a toy, buy you nini. I was like, this is a waste of time. But daddy, I want to do masters. I want to do doctorate. Bwana, funding. Inatoka direct. Lakini, toy, PlayStation. Bwana, unajua nilijibuy PlayStation in my adult.
That must have been the Wayne part.
Again,
unajua sisi geto hatukuna vile ungepata. Umaisikia mtu wa geto anaitwa Wayne.
Wayne, but it's a name my sister gave me.
No, Wayne was for you guys. The babies.
The babies.
Wayne, ati Wayne. Imagine mtu hii Kibera anaitwa Wayne. Mtu hii Madhara anaitwa Wayne. Wayne for where?
You know, back then also, the Christianity was also very deep and spooky. So my dad was going to buy me a PlayStation. And then he was told, ati, PlayStation ya devil worshiper.
666.
Ati nikifinya hivi.
EA to the sports.
It's in the game.
6.
And it was 666. Ati nikifinya hivi sijui ati as you press the buttons. You know that when you're playing like in a Street Fighter, then you have to use the forward //AB.
R1, R2.
Ati ukifinya R1, R2 ati hizo combinations inaita. in a shetani. I'm like, God damn. Fall out.
Let's spin the career part just a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, we were colleagues just until the other day, and I also show on Radio 47 Chamber
right.
that
The
pushes
Chamber.
the men's agenda.
Men's agenda.
And one of the most interesting statements I've met of late, and I've also seen Steve Harvey make the same statement, is that why would a divorced man be the one to give us advice about love?
Right.
And guys don't realize that actually that person who has actually been divorced a couple of times is actually the best person to give you advice because, man, he's been there, done that, in and out, in and out. So probably he's collected all the lessons. And I have been very much interested to these days. I really want to listen out to gentlemen who have gone through it once, it didn't work out, left and tried it again. And the Willis now is outwardly very happy. If I can say this, Willis is glowing.
Yes,
Willis is, I mean, that explains the shouting and the jumping up and down and everything, because I don't think you can shout when you have been oppressed with some situations in life. So first of all, which was Will's lowest moment? Was it after you and your ex-wife? Was that like the lowest moment ever in life?
No, actually, the lowest moment was the day I found out that my baby girl won't make it when my daughter died. That was my lowest moment. I don't think there's anything pain that can. Hey, okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any pain that can
equate.
Yeah, to that. It was a very dark time for me.
Were you at work when you received it?
No. I was at the hospital. I was actually at the hospital. I even have a tattoo somewhere here if I pull it up. It was actually December 30th, 31st. New Year, what one the New Year? People are getting ready. But then for me, we got there, everything was okay. Went to the doctor, the pains and everything came. Then you're told, oh, there's no heartbeat. I'm like, what do you mean? I just had the heartbeat 10 minutes
After
ago.
a few while.
Yeah, like I heard it. Then they're like, oh no, let's induce you and push and let's see. So you go through the whole labor pain and then you push, and then out comes my daughter, and I'm holding her in my hands and I'm calling her by her name, and nothing, no cry, nothing. It was, I don't think that time I don't think there's a moment I've ever felt helpless, alone. I mean, you're in a room with the doctors and the wife and everything, but
you're in some
I just felt like,
miasma.
Yeah, like I'm alone. It was dark. It was painful. It was, and I remember after I went back, because now, when you go to the hospital, so umepaka kale ka bag ya kusema, mnaenda kutoka na mtoto, so you have your onesies and ile nini, kila kitu iko pale. Everything is ready. So when I went back to get the bag, I remember it was Nairobi Hospital, and I sat on one of the benches there. I just looked up in the sky and I was like, okay, God, fine, you win. And you winning means I'm out. I don't believe you exist. I don't believe any just God would do such a thing to somebody. All my life I've been brought up Christian. I did everything.
Yes.
I prayed for every day. I spoke to this baby in the belly. I held hands on this baby. I prayed. We prayed. Every day I was speaking positive things, manifest and all that stuff.
Manifest into her destiny and to.
So for me, that not working, I was like, then this God then doesn't exist, or he's just taking pleasure in my pain. So for a while, we took a break, me and God. Now we are good, but we took a break.
Let me
just figure this thing out. I don't understand why you would do such a thing. And then after that, shortly after, then the divorce came as well, because then it brought up a lot of issues about just, my good mentor, CJ Atemo, always says that in a relationship, you have to understand that people are growing and people are evolving, right? So you do not know Ofweneke in grief. You don't know Ofweneke without a job. You don't know Willis when he's 30. You don't know Willis when he's 40. Things might change. We are constantly changing.
Yeah.
So the base will always be, I love you, you love me. But you have to understand that I'm not stoic. See, I change. I'm like a fluid, right? Like I always say, if you put water in this cup, it takes the shape of this cup.
True.
If you put water in a basin, it takes the shape of a basin. If you put the water on top of this, it will be all over. So we are fluid in nature. And so having somebody who can understand these changing processes, it's not an easy thing.
Because they are also going
because they're also going through their
the
own
same.
grief. You don't know how they're dealing with the grief. So for me, I realized when I deal with the grief, I like to go out. I like to drive. I like to, go out in terms of, so it's different because I like to go out in terms of drive, scenery, but then I also like to be inside because I also do not express a lot. Because already people know this Willis as this bubbly guy. We are happy. We are jumping. We are celebrating. But
so being out there puts in the pressure to maintain
that.
Who guys see you for.
There is nobody who ever says hi to me, pole. Sasa Willis, uko aje? We all know, hey, ni aje Willis. Whoa. Because that's the person.
The energy you've sold.
Yeah. So now imagine being that. I
thought I was the only one. My PA behind the camera, she knows. So at times she has to tell me, msalimie tu na hiyo energy. Because at times I'm like, I'm human and
I'm tired.
And because I and because I have ADHD, so my mood swings are extreme. So either I'm too excited or I'm on my lowest. But of course, the public and the fans expect you, the energy they see you on Mr. Right, on Dr. Very Tonight, on radio and events.
And laughing.
And they laugh and they expect you to respond with the same way.
But it's not always like that because we are human. And that's, I remember you mentioned how you asked me, how do you keep on, you're still a baby, you're still 10 over 10.
Yes.
I was going through this loss. The sad thing about our jobs in media and our celebrities sometimes is that we have to put on the mask because the viewer does not understand that you've lost somebody, you're sad, the boss has shouted at you, you are going through a breakup as you're on air. They just want, even me as the viewer, I've been sad, I've gone through a bad day, let me just go home and watch Willis nifurahi. So wakitune in wapate aya, Willis, why is he moody? They tweet, hey dude, if you are moody, watch a job.
Toka, tafuta kitu mwingine. Umezeeka.
Like, guys. So I'm like, what do you mean? and so for me, I guess what I learned is now to deal with these issues. Yes, not really yourself, but to understand that you have underlying issues, that you have things you need to talk about. You need to seek therapy, which I did a lot. During those, like you said, one of those darkest moments. I mean, I contemplated suicide and all of that because, again, every time that I thought about my daughter, is that so if she's on the other side, the only way I can see her is
join her.
Exactly. So I did contemplate suicide, and I did go through moments where my therapist had to call the office because they normally say that the only time you see, everything in therapy is confidential, but if you're going to harm yourself or harm others, then we have a duty and obligation to inform the police or inform somebody who can help you. That's when they breach that confidentiality.
Right.
Because you can't tell a therapist in confidence that nataka kujiua na akubali usiambie mse, right? So that's the time that people had to check in on me and stuff. And it also reminded me the importance of just knowing who your friends are. As you get older, you realize you don't have 11 friends. It's not a football team.
Most of them see much.
Yeah, see much. You have, I think if you can count 5-6 genuine friends, you are really blessed.
Who are your friends?
My friends.
Please name them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The people will be like, others will be like, I thought to go in a circle.
Yeah, by the way. Where I am, I think.
But I think I have maybe 4.
4.
Yeah.
Your accountability brothers.
Yes. And then so these people, you need these people in your life. You need people who can take you for who you are in your clean, dirty, crazy, high, anger. They know you.
When you're not in the mood of being a human.
Yeah. You see the way you're saying, like, your PA will tell you, hey, I'm selling it, like people who know you, like they know your darkest secrets, but they're still with you. They know your dirt, but they're still with you. And then these friends are the people who you allow access because you trust them to tell you the truth. Hey, hapo na unachoka. wachana na hiyo kitu. I remember one time I had started tweeting. I started a line of tweets. And I was really pissed off because it's that time I was going through my divorce and I was going through. So I started tweeting. And my friend called me and said, dude, stop right there. Wachana nayo.
For me, that's Burale.
Yeah, Israel.
For me, that's Arbi. Arbi will like.
And you know when you mentioned that thing
it's
about...
just called right now. But
Yeah.
we're talking. Arbi will call me out even at 3.
Yeah.
The small bro.
Yeah.
We are not going down
You know,
that route.
Burale said something very important one time. Now that you mentioned it, and he'd be shocked. I know he knows I watch him, but I don't think he knows how much
You watch him.
I watch him. He was talking about Sarah and Sarai.
Yes, that was someone
Right.
when he was consecrated as a pastor officially at the House of Grace.
Yes.
Yes.
So he was talking about that you are in your Sarah phase, but you're still looking back
At Sarai.
at Sarai. And that talks about transformation. And when you're going through transformation, that's why I say you need those friends who'll be able to realize that, you know what, Willis Ofweneke is not where he was last year. He's going through a change. But you know what, we're okay with this change.
The guy.
Because this is our guy. That's what you need in this life.
Did church hurt you?
Oh, yes.
Because
my
I remember
God.
there was a time when I would look around on all social media posts and look at JCC on Sunday on TV on Citizen,
Yeah.
and I would see you serving, and even your Instagram was, Willis is deep into church and serving the kingdom.
Yeah.
Then one time, Willis
I
ain't
left.
there.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a time I was actually scared of drinking around you. Because I was like, this nigga's gonna judge me. This nigga gonna judge me, y'all.
You know, I used to be that guy, though. I really did used to be the guy who judges people. And one of my people I dated got the heavy brunt of that because she used to drink. And I was like, how can you drink demon liquid?
You gotta keep the
br-
body pure for Christ.
You know how Jesus would call people, you brood of vipers. So, you know, what happened was, I don't think church, in terms of the church, like JCC, hurt me, but the model and the construct of God hates divorce. You know, people harp on that thing, but they don't know the background around why
the
that
context.
was said. Because at that time, the Jews were putting out their wives without property and just leaving them.
All right.
That's the context of that word. But people hang on to that word. And they cause people to do all sorts of crazy things. And yes, if you have been in the church, in the front of the church, raising your hands, seated behind the pastor, and now you're going through divorce, definitely they and the church will be like, dude, you can't do this because we have sort of accepted you as being this person who's together and who's in a relationship, and that's what we stand for. Okay? But at that point, and I would say this to everybody who are probably going through it and they're in the church, nobody ever gets into a marriage to divorce. Nobody ever says, wacha ni kuja kwa hiki tu nichape miaka mbili na nitoke. It's the farthest thing from your mind. The point, in fact, it becomes even more painful as you realize that, you know what, hey, Upper Bus, I don't think I made the right decision. I don't think the pain that you go through realizing that it looks like I'm going to have to walk away from this.
The day that my second marriage fell, I remember that day I went to Kettle House and I drank 2 gold reserves. And I came to the car park and I cried. And I cried. And I cried. And I told God, again, I've tried doing everything right. I've tried to be supportive. I've tried to be prayerful. I've tried to make sure I'm doing everything right as a baby, even to make sure that even my first ex-wife, I'm taking care of the kids and everything is fine. I'm really trying my best. But this thing is falling again. So how will I stand in front of people again as Dr. Ofweneke? How will I have the authority to speak to men?
You know what? You spoke about lessons at 30. Let me tell you one lesson I learned. And that's a plague of us. And I say us because we go through these things. I always say that for us who are in the spotlight, basically we are living our lives in an aquarium.
True.
Okay? So, you know, like you can say, oh, wow, lovely fishes. Look at them. You feed them, they're there. If they decide to mate, you can see them. Sini glass.
Literally fading, yeah.
Unaona kila kitu pale. One of the things I learned, just to go to your point, is as so yes, you do have to take responsibility for the things that you did. I mean, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
So you might have made some mistakes here and there, even and especially if those mistakes were you being the catalyst, providing the enabling environment, right? So you know that this person is toxic, is hurting you, but because you're afraid of what the truth might do to them, you keep providing an enabling environment at your detriment. You are the person who you're getting hurt, but because you just want to maintain this institution and maintain this field, you say, let's keep on going.
Let me give it another day. Let me give it another day.
Yes, let me give it another. Instead of let's get some help and real help. And my brother says something that's very powerful. He told me that prayer is a weapon, but therapy is a strategy. You're right. So
it's a way towards it.
So you can pray. By all means, pray. Cast out your demons. Speak the word, and all of that. However, you need somebody you can talk to who can unpack this thing, because you're not Ofweneke today because you just showed up into this place, right? You have, like you say, you have references to your mother and father and what that did to you. You have experiences of growing up, trust issues from just growing up and what that did to you. You have your first and second marriage and what that did to you. So all these things are building blocks. If you're playing Tetris, they're building blocks to who Ofweneke
is whole
today.
Super Mario too.
Yeah, to who you are today. So you have to go down to that foundation, and then you have to really, and I say this with most emphasis, you really have to love yourself and know yourself. You have to know, it's one thing for someone to come and tell you, unakwanga hivi, but unafaa kujijua. Unajua kwa wale watu wanasemanga, mi ukiniwachia milioni 2 hapa, sidhani nitawacha tu ati, kuna mtu amewacha milioni 2 hapa. Kujia hii pesa. Kuna pesa hapa. Or if I lock you in a room with a very hot girl of your dreams, ati nitasema tu, mazemi,
I'm saved.
I'm hallelujah, blessed the Lord.
All the way.
Rashamana naya shikarabaraba wacha pencil. Hallelujah. You know you.
I know me.
My advice is always get to know who you are. Strip yourself to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and most importantly, your limits. Because it is when you know your limit is when you can then form a semblance of a boundary.
And when you speak about getting to know, getting to know yourself is, I think after it all ended, I called myself for a meeting. Nikasema lazima nijue route iko wapi. And I realized mom left when I was 1 week old after birth. So dad remarried when I was around 4 years. And I realized then I didn't really grow much with dad and even my mom that has raised me up. I came to reunite with my family when I was in class 8. So all this time was uncle, auntie, rela, some even friends. Then I was on the street at some point. Then I worked in people's farms in Western Malava and everything. And I realized I am a lover. When I love you and I embrace you, I am 100%. Ofweneke is never, I don't look at you with one eye. And that's even when I say hi to when we meet, hey, man, say, bro, I'm a 100% person. So I realized at times I don't give that 100%. So I will come into a relationship with, because I'm always scared if I will love you too much, then you will leave. Right? Yeah. So let me love you with all toxicity. Not in terms, I'm not abusive, not physically and not verbally, but I will love you from afar. Because if I show you how much I love you, you will take advantage of it. Then you will leave. Because if mom left, who are you to leave?
Yeah.
You get? So I keep on telling my current wife, I am risking my love for the first time. And I'm going to love you 100%. But if you take advantage of it, just know you've messed up for any other woman who was supposed to ever come into my life. Because now you would have proven me right, the childhood me. Number 2, I knew what are my weaknesses? Alcohol. And alcohol makes me think of women. And I told myself, I may not be Idris Elba, but I'm also not the worst looking guy. I am smart, I am exposed, I'm intelligent, I'm hardworking.
Yeah.
And yes, I am Dr. Ofweneke.
Yeah.
And I may not be a billionaire, but I have some money, some good money.
Yeah.
Meaning, no, I can collect my good chunk of women the way I like them, nyash and everything. Oh my goodness. So I told myself, God, nitole pombe.
Okay.
So 7 months now clean. Then it killed the last. Then I told God, give me a woman who has all these things that I want. Smart, eloquent, knows how I got her stuff together, knows you, and has nyash. So that I don't go around in clubs because my own is a miwa and I keep on staring at nyash. Let me say, at least I have mine. So again, it's important, just as you say, strip yourself naked, get to know yourself.
Oh my God.
Only when you know your weaknesses, then you know your limits and your boundaries.
Just one of the things I've also learned over time, because you always have that fear. And I remember even telling my current wife, Ivy, is that guess what's going to happen? First of all, so I'm going through things, and there's no switch. You see how the way you can switch on a light here or switch on and off the mic. In life, there's no switch that just automatically switches off the feelings, automatically switches off the emotion. Yeah. So there's a likelihood that somehow, if I want to be really honest, and I do, if I really want to be authentic, that ex wangu wata come up and the things they did. And sometimes I could react to a situation not because of who you are and not because you have any ill intention, but because it's traumatic for me because
it's a familiar situation.
It's a familiar space. So I already become defensive. So what I would say, even just like the fear that people have, and I know if there's anybody who's watching this who've been through a divorce, and even just a breakup, but mostly for those who've been through a divorce, because it's harrowing, it's something I don't wish to anybody. You will always ask yourself, hey, lakini sasa hii sipo wako. Shida ilikuwa mimi. You know? And I like that we were talking off the camera and you said like you have to then make a deliberate decision to know, first of all, that you're worthy of love.
Yes.
You're worthy of a fulfilling, happy life and a happy marriage. And that life is going to life. Nobody has a blueprint to this life. And this is something that even Ivy taught me, that we don't have a blueprint to this life. All we're doing every day is to try. If you can go back and sleep, you know, I always say that the 15 minutes before you sleep is when life you really reflect and think about things for real. You could be sleeping with somebody even kind of a bed. No, realize, I made a mistake. But when you can go to bed and you realize, you know what I've done today is I've tried.
I've done my best. Always do your best.
That's all.
That is
all that this life is asking of you. Just try. That's it. Tomorrow, wake up again, try. And take it one day at a time. Keep on trying and keep on doing and keep on showing up. Keep on being consistent. Keep on, being deliberate also, especially if you're going through some pain and hurt, to be deliberate about the conversations you're having, the decisions you're making, and the people you allow access to you, so that then when you want to go out there and make decisions, first and foremost, you're comfortable in yourself, because I've allowed access to you, I've allowed access to Pinky, I've allowed access, and I realize that when Pinky tells me something, it is a voice. If Ofweneke tells me something, that's a voice. But who makes the decision at the end of the day? Who gets to live with that decision at the end of the day?
I do.
Exactly. So you have to be so comfortable in yourself. Accept, by the way, the advice of everybody. But the person who will, as they say, the proverbial wearer of the shoe knows where it pinches.
Literally.
Ni wewe tu, by the way. Hii life ni wewe. Na hii life hakuna ati, it's not, by the way, life is not a rehearsal. You are living life every day.
There's no
uko live.
It's no
Kila siku uko live. Life haina rehearsal na pia blessings za Mungu haina discount. Zinakuja furi.
Come on.
Yes. The blessings of God don't come with a discount. If God decides to bless you, whether you're vile, nasty, and remember all these things are based on your perception of yourself, not on his perception of you. So God will bless you. First of all, I always say God loves you and that will never change. Whether you're watching this and today you're waking up in the wrong bed, whether you're watching this today and you masturbated today morning, you watched porn.
Literally, there's the wrong side of bed and then there's the wrong bed.
Whatever it is you have done today, imagine God, he knew. You're not surprising God with your vile nature, your bad nature. It's not
God anajua
hey, whoa, Willis, hey, hata sikujua, wow, 30 women? You slept with 30? Oh my God, wow, what a shock. He knows. Anajua, and imagine, now this is the difference.
Lazima God anajua leo unaenda kupata ka something.
Anajua, na anapanga, siku na wezi siwa naomba, Mungu wacha niibe lakini nisishikwe. Siwa naomba, and sometimes those prayers are answered. So what about you and your prayers of getting better? If God can answer those prayers, people always say, and this is what I always say, people always say, so you be careful who you sleep with because you can pick up evil spirits. But what about the good thing? I can't pick up something good from somebody.
I have never thought of that other side.
I can't think of something good. I'm just saying, like, you always have to look at the other side of things. How come people glorify the wema demoni, but they don't glorify? If you can manifest and say, hey, udem, hii mwaka ishi kama sijam. But what about the good things? What about hii mwaka ishi kabla sijajenga nyumba? How about that dream? Hii mwaka ishi kabla sijapata a fulfilling relationship. How about that dream? If it can work for just a random person, you say, lazima ni manifest udem, ni manifest Bali, Diani, and all these places. How about for the good stuff? Why are you not giving yourself a chance to enjoy the good stuff? Because God is good and he likes giving good things to people.
He says, I've given you the power to be called my sons and daughters.
How much more, he says, if he was not able to spare his own son, how much more will he freely give you all things? Not some. All. One of my favorite verses now is in Exodus 15. And it says, this is my God. My Lord is a God of war. This is my God. For me, that's it. Exodus 14:14 says, the Lord will fight for you. You need only be still. Tulia. Let God do the fighting. Kwani utashinda ukipigana? Ama namna gani, my friend?
Willis Wayne Raburu.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Willis Wayne Edwin Opio Otondi Raburu.
Yeah. My God.
By 2027 I'll be doctor. Niko, namaliza masters naingia doctorate.
Shikilia hapo. Sisi ndo bado tunapigana hapa na degree yetu wachana sisi. So watu tulima first born tuliquit kwanza ndo. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Man, anytime.
That has, I don't think even I myself, I have not seen you in this light.
Thank you.
We've always seen each other in energy and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, lessons are 30. Of course, that is Willis Raburu. I feel like there's still more that we've not been able to.
Now kuja part 2.
No, you will.
Yes.
For this one, I mean, there always has to be a part 2 for our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe on our YouTube channel, Dr. Ofweneke TV. Lessons are 30. Willis Raburu, episode 2. Man, if you haven't learned anything about healing, divorce, accepting yourself, well, I don't know. There's no any other school of life that you want to be learning some of these things. This is real life experiences coming live on your mobile phone, on your TV, on your tablet. Lessons are 30. I will definitely see you on the next episode. It's getting exciting. It's getting deep. It's getting emotional. But more so, the pens are working. The papers are getting some material. See you again in the next episode. Lessons are 30. Dr. Ofweneke is my name. See ya.